In this video, we're going to go through the installation process for Super Manifestation X 2021. When you receive your software, you'll get a zip file or a folder. If you have the zip file, be sure to extract it so that you have the installation files in the folder. It's best to put them on your desktop along with your transfer diagram and any images such as target images that you would like to import when you get started. So take a look inside this folder. We're going to be running setup.exe. The installation process is quick and has been streamlined, and you will end up with this icon on your desktop. Go ahead and double click it to open the program for the first time. Hitting the start button will enter the program for the first time. It is going to prompt you about the location of your transfer diagram, which in our case we placed on the desktop. So we will browse to that file on the desktop and select it. And now we're able to enter the program. For those that are familiar with previous versions, many things are the same, although there has been a lot of recoding behind the scenes. First thing you're going to want to do is import your files. So I'm going to go to the import button, and we are going to be importing our image package file and our operations pack, IPAC and OPAC. So click on images, and we're going to browse to the desktop where we had our files here and select our images pack. As you see, you'll have a message that says that it's importing. If you get a message up here that it's not responding, ignore it. It is doing the import process, and when it's done, it will look like this. The faster your computer is and hard drive, the faster this will happen. If you have a traditional hard drive versus SSD, it's going to take a little longer because there are a lot of files in there. Operations, same procedure. Click the operations button. Here we are on our desktop. Install files. Select the OPAC, click open, it's importing, and when it's done, the screen will change and it's done. Okay, so we also have a target image that we placed on our desktop right here, which is normally the picture of someone. This is a photo of our target person, whoever that is. In order to import targets, click on target and browse to the file that you want to import, like so, and it will place it in the targets folder. Now, the other buttons here on the import screen, you can add new background images. If you have your own background image and you want to add it, you can select this, choose the image, and it will put it in the backgrounds folder for you. A general image that you have that you've designed, you can import it, and it will import them into a special folder that I'll show you in just a moment. And if you need to replace your transfer diagram because you lost it and you've got a new one, or you've made a new one, this is how you do it. You'll import it, it will overwrite the previous one and replace it. That's where you do that. If you have a folder full of images and you want to import them into the program, that's what image folder is for, and you will browse to the particular folder, select the folder, and it will be imported into your images folder in the program. Okay, we're going to back out of here, and let's go take a look at some double-clicking a position. Obviously takes you into the position edit dialog. We're going to click on select image so that we can look at our inventory of images. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. And as you can see, all of these image packs have been imported. There are couple new things in here, but let's take a look. There's the targets folder, and you can see there is our target image. We'll go ahead and select it, and you can see there it is. In addition, if we find the folder that says my imported images, if you remember from just a moment ago, there was the import image. If you import an image, it's going to put it in this folder. Right now there's nothing in it, but that's where it would go. And you can see you've got the rest of the huge collection of images I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this for right now. We can load and save operations. All the all the operations packages have been installed on this machine through that file, as well as the sound files, which are here. And if we take a look in here, you can see just all these different operations. And as you know from previous versions, we can change the size of the positions. So those were in small mode. Now they're in larger mode. And the reset button, boom, takes us back to the defaults. So anytime you want to clean everything up and start at the beginning, click on reset. We can load operations. You will load operations and then customize them. In this case, we're going to change the target person to that target image that we imported, like so. And you'll see there's that target image. And we can test that everything is working by hitting the start button, and the operation will run. This particular operation has sound, which is why at each position it will stop and play that sound associated with the position. Hit stop. The operation does have to wait till it gets to a point that it can stop. Let's jump back in this dialog, and you can see that sound is enabled, and there are the different sounds for this particular operation, which is called the quantum template. Now, we've also changed how the rates are done a little bit. We still have 4 different types of rate dialing. There's the stick pad, the individual buttons, the rate genie, and the fast rate set. All of them do dial the rates in slightly different ways. For example, if we select the stick pad, we are in stick pad rate dialing mode, and you move over the stick pad, and at some point when you've hit exactly the right point, remember to be doing your mental procedure while you're doing this, and there you are and you're out. And if, by the way, if you're in stick pad mode, yeah, can you move off? You shouldn't, but you can. And if you get stuck, you can always click the button and it will exit. You can use the individual knobs to make a fine tune to the rate you have, or set it from the beginning with all 6 knobs. There is the rate genie and the fast rate set, where you hold the button down and release it when you're ready. Like all previous versions, we're in a position dialog box. We're in position 1. You can change the name of that position and change the text description as well. And when you've completed all your changes to a position, you can change the image, for example. Let's do something really quick here. You see, and we click update, and it takes us back, and we've now made an edit to this operation. And if we go to the next position, you can see that that information is all here, and we need to dial our rate, and you may or may not want to make changes. And if you don't want to keep your changes, hit cancel. If you do, so we'll just do a real quick, there we go, update, and you can see there's our rate sticking there. I'm going to hit, and if we wanted to save this operation, we could save it, give it a name, or choose an existing one that we saved before and overwrite it. Like so. And if I reset and load up our operation, and there it is. Let's take a look at the advanced screen. First, I'm going to reset this and take us back. There we go. By the way, you can see the number of positions is 2. If I want more positions, simply add them. And as you know, we can go up to 28 positions. Often people use 5. And if I reset, it takes me right back again. Let's go ahead and add a few more positions just to illustrate this. Now, this is the background stretch mode. If you enable this, you can make the screen larger. and reposition it. And this information will be saved with the specific operation that you're saving. So to save time, I'm going to load something up really quick. A lot of these tend to be there. I'm going to background stretch this. So move some pieces around. And we were to edit this and choose our target. You can see this particular operation does not have rates enabled. If you wanted to enable the rates, simply go here and enable rates. And you can remove the sound. These are the different options. We'll walk over those in a bit. I'm going to cancel out this for right now. And as you can see, background stretch, we've made it larger. We're going to save this and we're going to call it test 2 and save. Now if I reset, I'm back at the default, and if I load test 2, you can see all that information has been recovered. That's how background stretch works. And actually, if we load that one more time, and if I unstretch it, you can see. And if I re-enable it, I have to grab it and move it. And if I remove that, if I uncheck it, it takes us back to the default. Reset. It always takes us back to the beginning. Now, we have advanced, but first let's take a quick look at load background image, because this one's nice and easy. Takes us to the backgrounds folder that's within images. Those of you that are familiar with previous versions of the program will discover a whole bunch of new cool background images. We're going to pick one of these. And we've changed our background image. Let's take a look at the Advanced tab. Okay, there's only 2 options in Advanced. I'm going to talk about this one first just because it's simple. This is Load Chi Transfer. Now, unlike in the import, under Images, Import Transfer, that replaces permanently the transfer that you have. And if I hit the Start button, you'll see that that's the transfer that's loaded in right now, and the system always remembers that. If I lose the printed version of that and had to have a new transfer made, I would go to Import and I would import my new transfer, and that would be replaced. But if I wanted to temporarily use a transfer and leave my existing one remembered by the system, but I want to temporarily use another one, that's what this is for. This is a one-time use. I load, I choose whatever transfer. Obviously it's not that one. Choose a second transfer, and it will just use it temporarily until the program's closed. It's not often used, but it's there because once in a while somebody needs that feature. The important feature under Advanced is Barrage mode. We select Barrage mode. Barrage is a 12 operation sequencer. So first thing I'll do is use the Browse button to select an operation to go into my sequence. I'm going to choose test 2 that we made earlier. I'm going to choose another one, which is test 1 that we made earlier. And now I have 2 operations in the sequence, and you see that they are checked as being active. You can then set a time for the operation to run. I'm going to choose a minute on both of these. And I now have what's called a barrage file, a sequence where I've got 1 and 2 playing. I could keep going and make as many as I want. It's going to juggle these operations. It's going to do this one for this long, then it's going to do this one for this long, then it's going to go back to the beginning again. So I can save this, and I'm going to call this test barrage. Save it. And now, if I exit out of everything, exit out of here, exit out of here, we're totally out of the program now, and this will completely kill the program, but everything's been erased. We hit start, we're back at the beginning, and I go to Advanced and Barrage and load. I can now load that Barrage program, and as you can see, it's loaded up my 2 operations, and it's got the time. Now, something important to note. If you're using sound, sound is not counted in this time. It's operation running time, and when sound runs, let's load up one of these again. I'm going to back out of this. I'm going to hit load. Let's load this one. As you might recall earlier, this one has sound. While the sound's playing, the counter is not counting time. Just so you know. So if you set it for a minute, it's going to be a minute plus the sum of all of these sounds throughout. So it won't really be a minute. Now, if we wanted to change this operation and remove the sound, I hit update, I hit save, and remember this is test 1 here. I'm going to replace it, and now when it runs, there is no sound, which means the count is going to be a lot more accurate. Now let's go back to barrage mode. So I load our barrage, and if I want to run that barrage, I'm going to hit start, and it will then start running in barrage mode with the sequencer. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Grab this and move it up into our window a little better, and you can see this operation is now running. This operation does have sound connected to, or does it? I'm not sure. But if it did, each time it stopped on the sound, that little bit of time would not be counted. I'm going to pause this and come back in just a moment. This operation just finished running. It is in barrage mode, so if we give it a moment, it's going to reset and it's going to load the next operation in the sequence and run it, as you can see. And this will continue to cycle through your list of operations over and over again until you stop it. This is a nice convenient way to run multiple operations on a single generator, or even a couple generators put together to maximize your power at each operation. Rather than trying to do a whole bunch of operations and split the energy, it's much better to just create separate and distinct operations and then put them into a barrage, and you can juggle up to 12 of them at a time. And like I said, this is going to continue on and on and on, juggling these operations until you hit the stop button. Now, when you've used barrage, it's really best to exit the program when you're done to reset everything. And this goes beyond the reset button just to clean everything up. And now you're back at the beginning again. This will reload everything and you're ready to go again. When you're leaving the program for the day or for good, close it with the exit button. And next time you want to run it, you're going to have that start icon on your desktop. And there you are. Let's take a look now at one last look at the position edit dialog. I'm going to load an operation. Business success. You can see we've got our 5 positions in this particular operation. Let's select the target, double clicking. So when we want to get into one of these positions, we're going to double click. If you want to move a position, you're going to click and drag. And you can move it around, and then when you let your button off the mouse, it's going to place it in that spot where you left it. Double clicking jumps into the position. So put the name of the person. Select an image for the target person. Remember, we have our targets folder. There's our target. We would dial the rate and choose our options. So let's talk about some of these options here. Fade, transfer in, BG change, super G, hop mode, use rates, show text. Okay, first of all, if I disable the fade, transfer in, and we go back to the main screen and run the operation, you'll see that the transfer diagram bounces between the positions, and there's no fade in, and there's no merging in sound. Let's hit stop. Go back into the position dialog box, and this is operation wide right here. This is for that specific position. If I select fade in, I now get new options, but let's just show you what fade in alone looks like. It will fade and move as it goes through the operation. If I add the background change mode, the background of the position will become the background of the operation while it's sitting on that particular position. The fun and hypnotic Super Chi mode is similar, except that it alternates between the images as it lands on each position with a cool hypnotic effect. In addition, there's something called hop mode. And as you can see, hop mode negates background and Super Chi. You can only have one or the other. And the way that hop mode works is it will hop from position to position without moving. It will jump. Now, if I notice that if I turn off fade transfer, hop mode only works in when fade transfer is on. And you can see turns it off. They toggle with each other. You can't have both of them at the same time. It has to be one or the other. Double click to jump back in here. The default sound is about 2 seconds long, which gives you a pause on each position. 1, 2, or so, and then it moves. This is hop mode. Let me get back out of hop mode and show you background change. Just fade transfer alone. Update. So that's that silent sound that's playing, and then it moves. So it gives it a little time to sit on each position. Nice smooth way of going about it. And if you don't want to do that, just disable the sound. You can see there is no pause. As soon as it's done fading, it moves on to the next position. Jump back in here again. Use rates. If you'll notice that we have all of our rates, although we haven't dialed them in this particular operation. Let's do that real quick on this one. Do a fast rate set. Update. You can see there is our rate. If we go back in here and we remove the use rates, they disappear. Now, put them back on. They're back. Now, show rates. If we disable show rates, we still have rates, but we're not showing them up here. That's what that means. Because you'll notice that I stop this and go back here, put that back in here, show rates, update, and I run it. The position information that's the current position will display up here in the corner. And if I disable that, we still have our rates on here because we're not showing that information up there. We can change the size of the positions with this position size dialog. There are 3 sizes: regular, small, and large. Change it to small. You can see that the positions become much smaller. Let's go ahead and do a reset real quick. And I'll choose 6 positions. Double click one of them, and we're going to jump in here and change the size to small. You can see that they all just got a lot smaller. This can be handy if you have a large number of positions in your operation. It just gives you a lot more room to operate with them. There is also, this is the regular size. Reset this, take it back. 6 positions is enough to illustrate this point. We can also go to large, which makes them quite big. And if you have a smaller number of positions in your operation, it might make sense to do this. Also, with the background stretch enabled, if you have a larger monitor, using larger positions might make sense also. The small positions. And that covers all the different functions. So again, if we re-enable the sound, it's going to play that default silent sound each time, unless we select a particular sound. So if we select a sound file, it'll take us to our sound files, and you can use any sound file you want, but it will pause the movement of the operation to play the sound in its entirety before it moves on. So sounds that are really long will take longer for the operation to happen. So for example, let's just so here's our, I'm going to go ahead and make these large positions so we can see it a little bit better. That's position 3, just to make all of this a little bit shorter. Okay, so it's playing that silent placeholder sound, but when it hits here, it's going to play the sound I loaded. So in this example, you can see that it's a long sound. Therefore, it's going to stop there and play the entire sound before it moves on. There are a lot of applications that can be very interesting for sounds, such as runes, and anything else really. It's up to you. You just want wave files, and you're going to assign a sound to each individual position. You can see chords. Some of these are just pieces of music like that money one. These are rune sounds in different octaves. It's up to you. You can bring in any sound files. As you can tell, these are wave files. So any wave files that you come up with, you can use. And you would just browse to the particular file and select it. And that is how sound works. You can see we disable it. It just completely goes away. And when we run the operation, it's no longer going to play that sound. And stopping an operation, you can see we hit start to start the operation. We want to stop it. We hit stop, and it will stop at the first point that it is able to stop. And to leave the screen, we hit exit. And that is how we operate all the controls in the program. Enjoy the power of Super Manifestation X 2021. This concludes our installation tutorial and operation tutorial for Super Manifestation X 2021. Made by HSCTI and RadionicsBox.com. It's the most powerful radionics program ever made. Use it responsibly and enjoy.